Hey guys, welcome back to this episode of the MSR Workshop. So today I'm here with my helical head grizzly joiner, and I've had some requests to do a use video on this rabbeting ledge. This is the Grizzly G0858. So I think you'll enjoy this, so stick around. So if you've ever read your manual that comes with the joiner, I have not.
Sweet!
But you will have noticed in the manual there is something that they talk about called a rabbeting ledge. Rabbeting ledge, whatever you want to call it. I still like rabbets. I didn't watch Space Jam 2. And in the manual it talks about, some basics on how to use it, but there's not a whole lot. So we're going to go step by step. So the first thing to do when you're getting started using this is to take your guard off. Yes, you have to take your guard off to do this, and it's a little bit dangerous, but I'll explain why you have to do it. So in this case, we are just going to unloosen the screw, and this cover pulls right off. So to use this rabbeting ledge correctly, you are going to have to remove this metal piece here. And let me explain why. So if I was to loosen my table and drop it down for a cut, my cut is going to ride along here with the fence, obviously, and make the first cut. The first cut is great, but the problem is the second cut. Your outside that you've cut that rebate here is referencing along the side here. And what happens is you'll hit the side here and you won't be able to continue to make that cut. And that's why you've got to remove this. So to remove it on this particular joiner, you've got 2 bolts to take out. Now doing this the first time, it may be a little bit more difficult, but once you've gone through this process, the following time should be much easier. The problem is you have to get 2 screws located right underneath this ridge here, and they are bolts, and you end up having to use a wrench that is a 14 millimeter. Now it makes it really hard to get a 14 millimeter wrench under here because you have no room to get under there. So what you have to do is you have to take this cover plate off. Once you've taken this cover plate off, this panel comes off here, and those are loosened by 2 more screws. Take that panel off, and then you can access those 2 screws easily underneath. Then you get to put everything back together. Well, one thing I did is I replaced these screws, and these are the ones that come out, with ones that have an Allen socket on the end. The correct ones to replace are these. They are an M8 1.25 threads. Once you do that, then you can get an Allen key underneath there without having to remove anything else, and it makes it much easier. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. And the idea is just to back the screws off just so they're loose, and then this just lifts completely off. Now you can see where the 2 screws are located underneath. These you'll just leave in there because we'll reinstall that guard here in just a minute. So next we're going to go ahead and move our guard all the way forward, and that is going to determine our cut. So very little of the blade is exposed here, just the amount that we are going to etch. But obviously you still want to keep your fingers away when you're doing repeated cuts. Now you can do this with the guard on, but the problem is you will only be able to make 1 cut. If you've made that 1 cut, you end up hitting that ledge and you won't be able to make repeated cuts. So you'll have to make a very deep cut if you're going to just do it in 1 pass. This way you can kind of sneak up and adjust your cut as you make more. So let's go ahead and turn the machine on, and I'll show you how it works. So as you can see, it did a really nice job. Very nice, crisp shoulder. And you would keep making passes until you get the desired depth. Like I said, it's a little bit more dangerous because you do have the guard off, but you can continue to make repeated passes and it would just keep going down until you're done. So let's go ahead and reset all this. Obviously, you want to make sure your motor is turned off before you start putting your fingers under here. Take your guard, just kind of set that on there. And the way you want to do this the best is get one of the ball head Allen keys, because then you can get it under there at an angle and it works quite well. And now you would get your other side and just crank that down. Make sure your piece of wood slides on the top so you know you've got it flat and level, and you're done. Really that simple. Works quite well, but if I were to leave this on, you can see what happens is that shelf that I've created, that second pass is going to hit here. I hope this was able to help somebody. If anybody has any questions, be sure and leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks, guys.